You know something special is going on when you see quotes like this pop up from tech reviewers who have seen it all. The reaction was basically universal. The jump in quality with DLSS 4.5 is so good, people were wondering why on earth Nvidia didn't just call it DLSS 5.0 and make a huge deal about it. So that's exactly what we're going to break down here. We're going to look at the incredible, genuinely jaw-dropping improvements to how games look, but we're also going to dig into the hidden cost. We're talking performance hits, hardware limits, and one giant catch that, well, nobody really saw coming. First things first, let's talk about the good stuff, and trust me, it is really good. The first reactions from people who saw this thing in action was just pure shock at how much better games can look with this new model. So what even is it, technically speaking? Well, the big deal with DLSS 4.5 Super Resolution is a brand new AI model they're calling Preset M. It's built on a much smarter transformer architecture. Yep, the same kind of AI brain that powers things like ChatGPT. And maybe the best part? It's designed to run on every RTX card out there, not just the latest and greatest. And here's what's so cool. This new model directly attacks all the little visual annoyances we've kind of just learned to live with. You know that distracting shimmer on chain link fences or that weird boiling look on some textures? DLSS 4.5 has much better temporal stability, so it calms all that down. Ghosting on sparks and particles? Way less noticeable. And foliage, trees and grass that used to look a bit fuzzy or muddy, now look way sharper and fuller. It's just a cleaner image, period. And this isn't just a lab test thing. We saw it in action. In a game like Black Myth Wukong, it completely cleaned up that notorious shimmer that Unreal Engine 5 can have. In games like Cyberpunk and Horizon, tiny details and things way off in the distance just look so much clearer and more solid, especially when you're moving around. Okay, but you knew this was coming, right? In PC gaming, nothing this good is ever truly free. That huge jump in visual quality comes at a cost, and it's a cost your system has to pay. Let's break down exactly what that price is. This trade-off really hits your hardware in three key areas: your frame rate, your video memory, and how much power your card is pulling from the wall. Let's go through them one by one. First up, the most obvious one, your frame rate. On a modern RTX 40 series card, you can expect on average about a 5% hit to your FPS when you switch over to the new 4.5 model. Now for the visual upgrade you're getting, a lot of people are going to say that's a bargain, but it's not the only thing you're paying. The second cost is VRAM. This new, smarter AI model is a bit hungrier, and it needs more memory to do its thing. We're talking around an extra 200 megabytes of VRAM usage, at least at 1440p. Now, if you have a card with tons of memory, who cares, right? But if you're on a GPU with a tighter VRAM budget, that can actually start to matter. And finally, there's power consumption. Running this more complex model simply draws more juice from your GPU, about a 5% increase in power draw. For most people, this is probably not a big deal, but if you're one of those folks who carefully undervolts their card or you're building in a tiny case where every watt counts, it's definitely something you need to be aware of. So here's the most important part of this whole story. That performance cost we just talked about, it is not the same for everyone. The price you pay for DLSS 4.5 really depends on which RTX generation you own, and it creates this massive divide between the older cards and the new ones. And here's the techie reason why. This new AI model uses something called the FP8 instruction set. Just think of it like a new, super efficient language for the AI to process information. The tensor cores inside the RTX 40 and 50 series cards have special hardware built in to understand this language, so it runs incredibly fast. The older RTX 20 and 30 series cards, they don't have that hardware, so they have to translate it using software, which is just way slower. And wow, this chart just says it all, doesn't it? Take a look. In Cyberpunk 2077, a new RTX 5060 barely feels it, losing less than 5% performance. The 4060 Ti isn't far behind. But then you look at the RTX 3070, and it takes a staggering 18.4% performance hit. On these older cards, the so-called upgrade can actually make your game run worse than just playing at native resolution. It's a huge difference. All right, now we get to the biggest catch of all. This is the one that really affects gamers who are trying to push their rigs to the absolute max with all the latest and greatest graphics features enabled. So it turns out if you go into the Nvidia app and force this new DLSS 4.5 model on, it just flat out doesn't work if you're also using DLSS ray reconstruction. That's the other AI feature that cleans up the noisy image you get from heavy-duty path tracing. And right now in games like Cyberpunk, these two awesome technologies just refuse to work together. Here's how it plays out. You can go into the Nvidia app, find the setting, and flip the switch to force DLSS 4.5. Great. But then, as soon as you launch a game and you turn on ray reconstruction in the graphics menu, the game setting wins. Your override in the app is just completely ignored, and the game defaults back to whatever older DLSS version is compatible with ray reconstruction. So for now, you have a choice. You can have the better upscaling of 4.5, or you can have the path tracing cleanup of ray reconstruction. You cannot have both at the same time. Okay, So after all that, the amazing visuals, the performance costs, that huge generational gap, and the big ray tracing catch, let's bring it all home. What's the final verdict? Should you actually use this thing? This table really breaks it down pretty clearly. If you've got a 40 or 50 series card, absolutely, go for it. As long as you're in a game where you aren't using ray reconstruction. The tiny performance hit is so worth the visual upgrade. If you're on a high-end 30 series card like a 3080 or 3090, it's a solid maybe. You're going to have to test it in your favorite games and decide if that performance drop is worth it to you. For pretty much everyone else on older 20 series or mid-range 30 series cards, the answer is probably no. The FPS hit is just too big to make sense. And all of this leaves us with a fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? For decades, native resolution has been the holy grail, the gold standard. But a technology like DLSS 4.5 is so good at cleaning up aliasing and shimmer that in a lot of cases, the upscaled image can actually look better to our eyes than native. It kind of forces us to rethink what the goal of graphics is. Are we chasing raw pixels or are we chasing the perfect image, no matter how it's made?